Hello, this video is for my freshman students and I'll be going over what we're doing this week. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, if you go to our module section, you'll see that I've opened up a few more lessons for you to check out. We'll be picking up from lesson 4.2 and we'll be starting off with a quick write. And in this quick write, what you need to do is you need to tell me about your name. And you will write as much as you can, as fast as you can, in the response to these following questions. So how do you feel about your name? What is the story behind your name and how you got it? What does your name mean? And if you can change your name, what would you change it to? All right. And so that'll be easy peasy. Text box will open up at the bottom of the page and you can just write it. All right, up next, we're going to do a little pre-reading, okay? This just introduces the text we're about to read and how you need to respond to a text. Now, we've gone over this quite a bit in this class, but if you feel like you still need some help with reading something new or annotating a text, reach out to me and I'll give you the help that you need. And so on the next page, you'll see the text. And your purpose for reading this text is to answer this question: why is the name Hope suitable for the main character of this story? All right. And what you'll do is you'll read the excerpt, you'll write the purpose for reading, so you'll put that question in right here at the top box. Okay, you'll read the story, and by the end of the story, you should be able to tell me the story's beginning, its rising action, conflict, climax, falling action, resolution. So you'll be able to tell me the plot. You'll be able to give me a quick 3-sentence summary of the plot, and you'll be able to answer your purpose for reading down here at the bottom. Okay? And so when you're done with that, you'll turn it in. But we're not done with these yet. All right? We're going to use these for a few assignments in the future. Okay? Now, up next, we have another quick write. For this one, what you're going to do is you are going to watch this video and you are going to experience this character's, I don't know, you're gonna get a feel for Maui here, okay? And so you're going to look at Maui, you're going to try to understand his character by looking at his language, so the dialogue that he uses, the way he talks. You're going to be looking at his body language and his actions, and then you're going to be able to answer the following question: what can you infer about Maui's character based on his behavior? And so when you're done with the Moana clip, what you'll do is a text box will open at the bottom of the page. You'll type in your quick write and just let me know what you know about his character. All right, now I'm going to do a little mini lesson on characterization because this is the focus point of our unit here. And something that you need to be able to do by the end of it is tell the difference between direct and indirect characterization. So let's go ahead and get started. All right. So a character is what drives a story. Okay, a character is the vehicle that pushes the conflict forward until it bubbles up and it happens. Okay, a character's experiences we learn from their experiences. We learn what they go through and how they go through it, and we can learn a little bit about ourselves through them. And so characters are important because just like us, they have personalities. They have relationships, they have conflicts, and it's through those interactions with other characters that really drive the story forward, really makes it interesting. All right, and so first we need to understand the difference between a protagonist and an antagonist. So our protagonist is always going to be our main character, all right? Not always the hero. They're not always the good guy, but they often are. And so our protagonist is the person who we root for in the story, whether or not their motivations are just or unjust. Okay, they're our main character. Okay, they want something, they're going to set out and get it, and they're also going to encounter many different conflicts and obstacles and trials on their way to meet their goals. Now, an antagonist is someone who works against the protagonist. An antagonist, oftentimes we think of them as the villain or the bad guy, but that's not always the case. Okay, our antagonist they conflict with the protagonist. So all the goals that the protagonists are trying to meet, they're working against it. Okay, everything that the protagonist is trying to do, they are trying to prevent the protagonist from doing. Now, like I was saying earlier, the protagonist is not always going to be our hero. Our protagonist is not always going to be the good guy. I think one of the best examples of this is with the anime Death Note. Many of you guys are familiar with this one. In Death Note, our protagonist is not really a hero. Okay, our protagonist has this supernatural power to kill people that he thinks are bad. Okay, and that opens up a whole bunch of questions about what's good and what's evil. But he's not a hero. He kills people. Okay, and the person that works against him, his antagonist, L, okay, he works for the side of justice. Okay, he works to bring our protagonist, he tries to bring him to justice here. Light Yagami. And so even though he's the good guy, he's still our antagonist because Light Yagami is our protagonist. Because he's our main character, because, we want what's best for him, because, we watch him learn and grow, encounter conflicts, and get what he wants. He's our protagonist. But, our antagonist, not always a bad guy. Not always a bad guy. I just want to make that clear. Okay, so with characterization, writers use characterization as a tool to reveal a character's personality, who they are and what they're about. And there are two types of characterization that you need to be aware of. Okay, there's the easy to spot direct characterization, and then there's the harder to spot indirect characterization. So direct versus indirect. When we talk about direct characterization, our narrator is telling us exactly what we need to know about our character. They are telling us about their personality. They are telling us what they feel or what they think. Whereas indirect characterization, the writer is using more creative language in order to reveal to us what the character is about. And so they're showing us the character. They're showing us the character as they make decisions, as they talk to people, as they're feeling feelings. And that's the difference between them. And so when it comes to direct characterization, it's harder to spot, but you can use the steal strategy. And let me go ahead and hide my face here so you can see it. You can use the steal strategy for understanding indirect characterization. So consider the speech of the character. Okay, what are they saying and how are they saying it? And what does this reveal about their personality? Ask yourselves that. Consider what the thoughts are of that character. Okay, if the narrator chooses to reveal the private thoughts of a character, what does that show about them? Okay, consider the effects that the character has on others. Okay, think about the way that they engage in their own relationships. How do people react around your character? Okay, if they act like they are in fear of that character, it's likely that your character is someone who instills fear in others. You'll learn something that way. Consider your character's actions. What is it that they do, and how is the way that they behave? How does it reveal who they really are? What does it reveal about their personality? And lastly, looks. And so if you look at a character's looks, if a narrator describes a character as, walking down the street with a shirt buttoned up all the way to the collar, their hair is slicked back, okay, they have some nice shoes, what that reveals about the character is that they're somebody that really cares about their appearance and cares about the way that they look. And so consider the steal method when considering indirect characterization. And so here's an example of direct characterization. This is easy because our writer just tells us flat out, John was an intelligent and quick-witted student. And so because they're just flat out telling us about John's character, okay, we know John's personality traits. We know he's smart and he can think on his feet. Okay, they just make it easy for us. They just tell us outright. But with indirect characterization, it gets a little tricky. I'm going to skip this. With indirect characterization, okay, here's an example of it right here. Susan was not looking forward to wearing a frilly dress to the dance. It simply wasn't her. Now this is harder because we have to guess who Susan is as a character based on her feelings, based on her identity and how she sees it. And so here the author does not tell us about Susan, okay? They really just show us that, Susan might be a little more masculine. She might be a little more of a tomboy, okay? because we see that the frilly dress is something that she has to wear to this dance, but we also see that she's not excited about it. We also see that she says it simply wasn't her, which reveals her identity. Being in a dress, going to a dance, that ain't her. So that's an example of indirect characterization. And now you know. All right, so if you go to the next page, this is a simple activity. All I'm looking for is one sentence, but I'm checking to see that you do it right here. And so you are going to think about one word that you would use to describe yourself. Okay, so, if I were doing this activity, I would probably describe myself as nerdy. Okay, I'm a big nerd. And then I have my word, and now go to step 2. What you'll do is you'll write an example of you demonstrating that quality. So what you are doing is you are going to be using indirect characterization on yourself. Okay, I could directly tell you that I'm a nerd, but where's the fun in that? I want to indirectly tell you that I'm a nerd. So I'm going to write one sentence. You are going to write one sentence where you describe yourself as an example of indirect characterization. So if my word is nerd, I might write a sentence that says, as I look around my office, I see many posters for many anime and several books about Star Trek. Okay, I'm not really a Star Trek fan. I'm more of a Star Wars fan. But you get the idea. By me writing down what I see around me in my room, that explains to you about my nerdy character. That explains to you what my values are and what my personality is like. Here's another example right here. If you choose the word neat freak, you might write, every day I pick up, dust, and vacuum my room. Because through your actions, your character is developed, and it is shown to be someone who likes to keep things nice and neat. And so this will open up a box, a text box at the bottom of the page. And in that text box, I'm just looking for one sentence. Okay, do not tell me who you are. Show me who you are. That's what I want you to do here. Okay, so for this next assignment, what you'll need to do is you'll need to take your copy of Hope Was Here that we saw on the other page. So the short story that you read and you answered questions for. And here it shows a few examples of direct characterization. I would rather go through this with you as a class. I believe I will. I think I will. So we're not going to do that right now. But for this activity, what I need you to do is you're going to choose a quote from the story that you've read, from Hope Was Here, that's an example of direct characterization. So you are going to find a part where the narrator tells you who Hope is. And you will copy that, you'll have a copy of this document for you to fill out on your own. And what you'll do is you'll copy that quote and you'll put it right here. And you'll explain to me, this is an example of direct characterization because, and then you'll explain your answer here in the box. Okay? And then I'm going to have you do it again. Except this time you're going to give me an example of indirect characterization. So using this excerpt, okay, you're going to infer, you're going to read the text, you are going to combine what you've read with what you already know, and you're going to make an inference about Hope. Okay, what does this evidence show us about who Hope is? And you're going to write that in the box as well. Okay? And then last but not least, we have a little discussion here. And this is, you know what, I don't think I'm gonna make you guys do this one. I think we're good right here. I think we'll stop right here. That'll be our last assignment. All right, and so that's it for what we're doing this week. I look forward to seeing you guys in class, and I hope you have a good one. Also, next week, we're taking it off. It's the Thanksgiving holiday, so stay home, relax, and think about all the things that you're grateful for. Thank you for watching, and have a good one.